want to record? Do you really want to record? Like, yes. Thanks. All right, so this week we're gonna be working on DBQ. Like I said, we will probably be done tomorrow, I'm guessing. So Thursday you'll have time. I don't know, we'll see how long. We're gonna take our time working through this so you're totally comfortable, because it's a different kind of essay from the essay we've done before. So take our time to it, but I'm guessing on Thursday we're gonna have some spare time. So you can have time to either work on your outline or ask questions or work on your cards. Make sense? All right, so shall we get started? This is your prompt. And oh, by the way, it's in your book. It's in your book. If you go to everything we're doing today, well, not everything we're doing today, but the whole DBQ is sitting on pages, what page is this? 191E. 191E. So if you want to, I mean, at any point in the next 3 days, you can open up your book and take a look at all the documents where you don't have to pull up Google Slides at all. It's right there for you. We're going to go through this. So here's the prompt. You always have to take a look at the prompt as to where are we going? What does it want us to do? And maybe know what that is, by the way. What is that?
I'm not sure, but is that the building in Istanbul?
It's in Istanbul.
Okay. I don't know its name, but I do know what it is.
Anybody know what its name is? Hagia Sophia. What's the significance of it? Anybody know the significance of it? There's a reason why I put it there. I'll take a gander at it. Go.
It was an Eastern Orthodox church, but then the Islamics took it over and they turned it into an Islamic church.
Yep.
And according to my mom, they went back and forth a couple of times, but it's Islamic.
Well, it's still got like the Byzantine. I don't know what that's called. There's an art form. Some of my art students may know it. I don't know what it's called. Where you take a whole bunch of broken, colored pieces and you make a mosaic, or is that what it's called? It's called a mosaic. You can make a picture out of all these little broken little chips. You guys know what I'm talking about or no? Yeah, those are still on the ceiling in places. So yes.
In fact, I think I actually have a picture of that if you want.
Yeah.
From the inside.
Yeah, it's pretty. But it's kind of interesting because because we're looking at evaluating the extent to which religion and politics interacted in the era of 1200, 1450. So turn to your neighbor real quick and ask them for an example. Can you think of an example between 1200 and 1450, before we even look at the documents, where politics interacted with religion? Turn to your neighbor and tell them, between 1200 and 1450.
I think that religion and politics went hand in hand because the Pope was very much a part of the king and how that was chosen.
So the Pope in Europe.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What's another one?
I think one that ties a lot more to this is how when the Ottomans took over Istanbul, politically, it affected the religious, because they're Islamic and they converted the church. So it ties into political and conquering it to religion.
What group of people is that? What empire is that? Ottomans. What else? What else we got? What other examples of religion and politics interacting? Yes. Ooh, I like that, because that's the opposite side of the coin, right? So we've got China with Confucianism, and that is, see, how do I go? How do I go like this? Like that. Make sense? Anything else? Another place where they operate without, there is no tie between religion and politics. Any place else we can think of? I like that though. That's good. I like that. Yes.
I mean, Africa's politics really didn't ever talk about religion.
Yeah, it's eventually going to creep down there though. So we could go with it. We could go with like West Africa. But does it really?
I mean,
Not from
honestly,
1200 to 1450 though.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because it's kind of a neutral. It's there, but it's how much is it really interacting? Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna put a question mark. Make sense? All right, because here's one of the things you gotta do, when you first get this, when you first see the prompt, you just kind of start to think in your head before you, because you're gonna wanna like, oh, let's just jump into the documents real quick. The first thing you wanna do is start in your head building a picture of, where am I going with this, you know? And so we'll talk more about this. Let's see if this works. I'm trying my best with technology here. Fail already. This whole thing is wherever the mouse was last. Let's see here. Let's try that now. There we go. Now it'll start working. Okay, so first thing you need to do is get a, whenever you're, this is, I call this slide here, how to DBQ. And so the first thing is draw a matrix, and guess what? I gave you one. So everybody's got that, yes? So we're gonna be working in that today. And you have to understand the prompt. There's some words in there that I want you to kind of key in on. First one's evaluate. Turn to your neighbor and tell them what you think you have to do when you see the word evaluate.
It means like pull out the information
Where's your
and draw a conclusion.
I literally put on my own.
That's it.
Okay, so who's got an idea what to do when you see the word evaluate? What does it mean? What's it mean? Evaluate. Evaluate. Yes?
You analyze and come up with specific details.
Okay. You're gonna do something, analyze it. Now, if I say, I'm going to evaluate you, what are you expecting the end product to be? Okay, well, let me specify a little further. I'm gonna academically evaluate you. What are you expecting at the end? Some sort of grade?
You're gonna like see, well, if you're evaluating us, you're gonna see what we know, but if you're evaluating your text, you're gonna see like what information.
Okay. You have to bring it out and figure out what's there, yes, and then render a judgment. Render a judgment. When you're gonna evaluate something, you have to render a judgment. Evaluate means you gotta do something and say, this was good, this was so-so, this was bad. Well, looking back at our prompt, evaluate the extent to which religion and politics interacted. We have to evaluate this connection doing that. Does that make sense? Okay, what about 1450? Why? Have I told you why College Board likes 1450? Why did I say that?
It's right before they like trying to colonize the America, or
Well, colonizing America is basically it's the Europeans coming out of Europe, yes?
Yeah.
So keep that in mind too. The Europeans have not come out of Europe. That's why College Board likes 1450. They're still there. They've not come around Africa. They're not meddling with the world. The world is prior to European interaction. Make sense? All right, so we got here, render judgment. It's in this case extensively, rarely, resisted, etc. We come up with more words, but we have to render a judgment. We're looking for connections between politics, and I like what you did here too. There's no connection here, or there's a very little connection here. You with me? This is good. This is good because we're already, don't forget this stuff. We're already down the path of actually writing the essay right now. Matter of fact, this guy here kind of unlocks. You always have to have, I don't know if you remember this, I told you in LEQs, you always have to have 2 answers, yes? Guess what, guess how many answers you have to have in the DBQ? 2 answers. Guess what we already have? We have 2 answers. Did religion interact with politics? Did religion interact with politics? Guess what? We already got 2 answers. And we haven't even opened up the documents. Does that make sense? All right, so that's what you're looking for. Interacting connections made. So good job, by the way. 1450, yep. Okay, so to answer the prompt, yeah, 2 historically accurate answers to the prompt using all the documents. And we wanna use all the documents. You're gonna find out if you read the fine print, you don't have to use all the documents. You look at the grading for the College Board gives you do not have to. But I'm gonna try and get you to use all of them, okay? Because sometimes you may misapply it. And so if you use them all, then you're giving yourself some slop there. Okay, so, we're looking for either a reason or level of religion and politics interacting, or a reason level for religion and politics not interacting, which we're already there. We're already there, all right. So sourcing the documents, we did this yesterday, remember that? What was the acronym I gave you? CAP, remember that? We did that yesterday? Probably could have done some more. We're gonna do it through 7 documents here. Can you cap every document? No, you can't. We're gonna find some of those today. So we have to tie the author document to history using one of the following. There we go. Context, we did this yesterday. Audience, purpose, or POV. So we're gonna have to do that when we're doing our DBQ. At some point, we have to bring in outside evidence, which this is good for, guys. Because as we go through the documents, matter of fact, if I were you, I'd write this down somewhere in your notes or something. Because we have to introduce. In fact, we'll go through the documents. I don't remember because I haven't looked at the documents in a while, but you guys can look at the documents. So let me look at the documents real quick. See if all of these are accounted for. Are they all accounted for? I don't have my glasses. What is that? Expressions.
Persian.
What is that? Christian. Oh man, so did we hit them all? Well, did we hit, is the Autogens in there?
Yeah.
It is?
Constant.
So we hit them all, huh?
Oh, well.
Oh, man. I was gonna be sweet if we got one of them up there, because we have to at some place introduce outside evidence. So, there's that. We'll have to come up with something else on our own if we didn't hit those. We have to organize it via matrix, and then we have to write the essay. That's what we're gonna do this week. We're gonna do all those things. Make sense? Ready into the first one? Here's the first one. Well, actually, that's what it looks like. You're gonna be writing it too. Here's the very first one. And so we're gonna do what we did yesterday. Now I can give you some, remember I told you there was those little contextualization blocks that were there in the sources that are not gonna be there in the DBQ? Remember that? I'll give you some contextualization, but we can't use it here. So here's the deal. This guy here is a monk, and he's traveling around China. And I think he's actually the first guy to make contact with the Khan. He's kind of like, remember Ivan Batuta? This is kind of like a Christian monk version of Ivan Batuta. He's kind of traveling around, he's writing about it. He is not a direct ambassador in any way, shape, or form. He's just a traveling around, he's writing it down, and we have his documents, okay? This guy here, the Khan that he's talking to, is, I think he's like the 4th Khan or something like that, and he's kind of like an organizer. He's a guy who's gonna sit down and kind of work on making the realm, the empire, a little more functional. Make sense? So you got these two people, you don't know that though. When you open this document, you don't know that, but that's some context, yes? All right, so we have some idea. So here's what we gotta do. Do we have to hit all 4? We just have to hit 1, yes? All right, so here's what I want. With your neighbor, well, first off is yourself, read it, and then talk to your neighbor and see if you can come up with one of those 4 on this document. But you can't use what I just told you. All right, go. You shared it with your neighbor yet? Share with your neighbor.
That's, so now we can see the board.
All right, did you get something from your neighbor? So if we spin the dial? Did you get something? You got something? You ready? Porter, you ready? Spin the dial. Put your volume up real loud because it's got like the one like the last class that goes. And then there's a.
Oh, we already missed the sound.
You missed the sound? Okay, do it again.
Do it again?
Do it again. Do it again. So we hit. Hold on a second. Let me get you a microphone so we can all enjoy the anticipation of the wheel turning.
Thank you.
Oh, did it go everywhere? Oh, nice. I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Was it full?
No, it was maybe like an 8.
Luckily.
It was not a lot.
You know your.
Here, give me a second, I'll get it.
You guys ready? Okay, so we're looking for one of these things here for that. Ava, what you got?
Hey, where you put the break?
Okay. European Christian?
Yeah.
Euro Christian? Okay. What else we got? We got another one? Who's got another one? Or should we spin the wheel? Go.
The speaker is the Mongol leader, and he's talking to a Christian traveler who's also.
Okay. So we're talking about context? Just so it's the con? K-H-A-N? K-H-A-N. Con. So we've got, he is the con. What do we know about the con? Let's go back and let's peel this back. What do we know about cons in religion and politics? Cons in religion and politics. What do we know about cons, religion, and politics?
They don't really have like one religion. They kind of just adapt to wherever they are.
Okay. They
Fancy word for that.
yeah, they are, and I said this yesterday, they're spiritual. They're you guys know what shamanism is? Shaman is like a holy guy, and he interprets between the spiritual world and this world, and he's like, he's the guy that rolls the bones and says, we're supposed to do this. You with me? That's the Mongols. They're big shamanism, but they also were spiritually adaptive. Make sense?
Yeah, you said they're religious chameleons.
Chameleons, yeah. So how do we summarize their connection between religion and politics? Well, let's just go with con, and we'll go spiritually adaptive. Adaptive, APT. My brain does not work. Adaptive. I'm always working on. I have like a learning. I'm letting you guys in on a little. I probably shouldn't say this to be recorded, but I have a learning issue where my brain is always like on the next sentence. I'm already in the next sentence. So you'll catch me spelling things or even like not even writing full things because my brain's already in the next sentence or the next word. Purpose or point of view? What is the cons, his reaction, what is it saying about him? Yes,
Well, I was gonna say purpose, but like, he literally tells you to tell your Christian leader, well,
okay. Purpose kind of like a messenger, send the message back.
I would say,
What would you say?
I would say it's a little more like a warning, because basically, he will cooperate, but if they threaten him, he will know.
Yeah, so that's why I go with point of view. Point of view is, this is warning. It's a warning, and he's basically, he's receiving, he's seeing, this messenger. Even though this guy's just a monk. You guys, I don't know, you guys know what monks look like? You guys ever seen a monk in classic garb? Yes or no? Some of you guys have? Okay, my uncle, I have an uncle who's a Franciscan friar. And when I was growing up, it was always good to go visit him because he lived in a monastery or a monkery. And he would always wear, he's to this day, he's still a Franciscan monk. And he had this long brown, I want to say it's like wool, and he had this belt around it, and he had a big huge rosary and stuff. And it was cool. He was like, I don't know if you guys ever watched Robin Hood or seen Robin Hood. You know, wasn't there like a monk with those guys? What was his name?
You mean the, are you talking about like the old one that was like the last?
Yeah. Wasn't there a monk with those guys?
That's like this one month. No, that was for your.
I don't know, but yeah, you get that classic thing. They're not. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not extravagant. They're very plain Jane. They're very kind of. I don't know what the word is. The word I'm trying to search for. You got a picture of monk? There we go. Yeah. Okay, so he's because what I'm trying to go is like, okay, what's going on with this? If you see a monk, they do not look threatening. There's nothing threatening about them. However, his point of view, he's receiving this. Hey, send a message back. If you guys are thinking about attacking us, you better think twice. Make sense? All right, so now here's we've kind of rung this out. I don't know if we've got something that we can use there or not. This probably might be a good one here. But once again, we got to figure out, we'll come back to these, okay? Yes?
I don't know where this would go, but if you try to look for connection with politics, connect with, he is your Christian leader. And he's politically like talking about the harm and.
So he perhaps perceives that the Christians are like this. That's a good one. I like that one. I like that one. So this one here, okay, so we got to do this. So we're going to come, we have to, and what I recommend you doing, let me see if I can do it. No, there we go, yeah. All right. I'm not going to erase that. But what I want you to do, what we come up with next, I want you to put it right here. Okay, we're going to answer each prompt, and I want you, in as few words as possible, what we're about to do next, I want you to put it there. Make sense? You see where I put it? Because you're going to put an answer to the prompt here. You're going to put an answer to the prompt here. You can put an answer to the prompt here. You follow me, yes? Yeah, right after the doc.
In the same box.
It won't fit in the box very well. So that's why you go with 2 or 3 words. You might even want to shrink the font. Make sense? Okay, so I'm going to go back to it. You'll just see what I'm about to do here in a second. Because what we've got to do is we've got to answer the we've got to answer the question using just this document. Just this document. And we'll keep that in mind, the whole thing of like he's seeing something of that. Maybe the message. See, how would I write that? Whether it's here or here, either one of these places, I think it fits both what you just said. Use Europe as connected. Make sense? You guys understand that one? He views Europe as a connection between politics and religion. So that's why that would explain the warning. Make sense? All right, so now, with the Mongols, because this is the author, with the Mongols, What is it? Evaluate the extent to which religion and politics interacted with the Mongols. Turn to your neighbor and come up with an evaluative word that talks about the connection between religion and politics with the Mongols. You understand the task? Okay, we're talking like 2 or 3 words max. Go ahead, talk to your neighbor, come up with an evaluate the Mongols, politics and religion, what were they?
Yeah.
Small
Like,
but
it
strong,
all
or like
kind of-
simple
the
but
Mongols, it was like-
plain and simple,
They
something
like
like
kind
that.
of adapted some more of
Like, cause they're like Taoism,
over, so like
new fans.
they adapted to it, but then like depending.
I don't mean.
They weren't big contributions, but it was like the thing that they still like.
What was you?
Do you have a good answer that you can give us?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, yeah. So what we wanna know is, what is the connection with the Mongols between religion and politics? And you have to evaluate it, you have to say, was it extensive, was it minimum, was it? Come up with a term for it, yes? Evaluative term?
You guys know this. You guys are pretty smart. You come up with a good one.
You guys got an answer?
Yes.
We got an answer? All right, ready to spin the wheel? Let it rip, man. Where's the speed? Back there somewhere. Who is it? You? I'm not here.
The speakers, you want
Yeah. 1 to 3 words, what do you got? Connection between the Mongols and religion, politics and religion.
Little religion, that's 4 words, okay, like minimal religion, but more.
So the connection with the Mongols, your word would be minimal. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what I said, yeah.
Minimal. Anybody else got anything else? Because I know I'm slipping falling, that's why I'm doing this. No, you got most of it, I think. Hey, who's else? What do you got?
You gotta figure out how to put it in short wording, but adapted to religion to get hired.
Ooh, I like that word. Did you hear what the first word she said? Adaptive? Is that what you're trying to say?
Can we not just say spiritual adaptive?
Say what?
Can we not just say like the thing we wrote, religious community?
Yeah. But see, here's what we're trying to do. We're kind of come up, let me hold that thought. Hold that thought, don't lose it, because as I'm talking, you go, oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say. You got it? Okay. We have got to come up with, I call these umbrella answers. We've got to come up with 2 umbrella answers. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up with, probably one umbrella answer is gonna be real simple, extensive. And all the different answers that we got for document 3 and 4 and 6, whatever, are gonna fall underneath that, right? Well, the one that we're trying, it's gonna be the hardest one for us to do, is the one where there's not connections. Does that make sense? So if we say doc 1, and we come up with this word adaptive, we're gonna eventually have to come up with an answer that we can hide adaptive underneath. Does that make sense? This is where we're going. In fact, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put my two umbrellas over here. How's that? Well, they won't be seen on camera. Let's see. Oh, man, you can see one, you can't see the other. I don't know if I should lean here or just later on we'll do that. But somewhere we need to come up with these two umbrellas. Anyways, talking to myself out loud. So if we want to use adaptive works. Anybody else got something that's adaptive? Yes. Yo, that's what I'm gonna call you.
I would just go back to manipulative.
Ooh. Manipulative. I like that too. I like those both. I don't know which, but. So put them both up there. Why don't you put that on? Okay, remember I told you in that little star there? Remember where I had the star at? Put your manipulative / adaptive. Adaptive. Go right. Manipulative or adaptive. And once again, that's the Mongols and religion. The Mongols and religion. Yes? All right. Question?
No, I don't, well, it looks like the Mongols understand the opposite, but they don't participate. Like, he's explaining how he understands that Christian leaders are connected politically and how they are deciding things.
I like that. Can you do me a favor? Can you hold that thought? And here's what I want you to do. Okay. Oh, dang it. This one. Write that over here. Mongols understood religion. Do that, all right? Because what you're doing right there is analysis. That's analysis. That's good. That's where you're drilling down. And that will help you later when you go to when you cap it. All right. So let's say I need to go this way. All right. Any other comments, questions, or concerns about document 1? Questions, comments, concerns on document 1? We got water everywhere.
It was really a mess.
No, see, I like I said, I will slip in class. I know that for sure. All right, let's go. You ready for document 2? Document 2. Actually, what this is going to say is we'll write what you have for your cap right here. We're going to come back. We got to come back and we got to put something in here eventually, but we're not going to right now. We'll come back to this once we come up with our 2 answers. These, by the way, this is going to be our umbrella answers up here. This is umbrella number 1. And this is umbrella number 2. That we've got to hide everything that's going to be in whichever. And can we, for the sake of making it easy right now, let's go with, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I don't want to say extensive. I'm looking for a word where the 2 are 1. Conjoined? Okay, that would work. Conjoined. What's that?
Hand in hand.
Yeah, but I like a bigger word because we're writing to a college audience. Yes. So conjoined would. Is there a better word than conjoined? I like that. Is there a better word where the 2 are 1? Yes.
Fused, they're fused together.
Fused. Okay. Fused. Conjoined. What do we got? Oh, sweet. Was it the source? What did you put in
Yeah,
there?
the synonyms for people.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a word that we could be comfortable using and understanding. I like conjoined though. I like conjoined or, we'll come back to this, all right? Conjoined or infused. Is that the 2 words we got so far? This is the other one we gotta come up with. We don't know what this one is yet. But we can probably put the Mongols here, yes? Yes? Okay, they're users. And so let's go on to document 2. Document 2. All right. So, let's see if we can cap this or not cap this. we might be able to cap it, I think we can. So go ahead, take a look at it, cap it, and talk to your neighbor about what you would cap it underneath. Talk to your neighbor. What's your neighbor think? You agree with your neighbor?
I really like this one. We can all- Well, it's really easy to answer the front because it's like literally them being together and like being one because it's the king and the pope being together. Then the context is the pope running the king. That's it, yeah. Then the audience is towards Christians and Europeans. European Christians, yeah. And then the purpose is to show everybody that the king loves religion, so you should love religion too. And religion loves the king, so everybody should love the king too. And then the point of view is the one I don't know. I didn't get that. I guess the point of view is like happy.
He has more influence than they use.
They're all frowning.
Well, that's kind of just like the happy was, I think. Yeah, well, everybody kind of just died of like everything.
That is true.
Oh, no, I stepped on a rock the wrong way. I'm dead now. I don't really know the point of view. What? I like that. That's like a party game. The Pope has more control than the king.
All right, should we get some stuff on this one?
Because the Pope can choose to go.
All right, who's got something? Who's got something good, a cap, somewhere on the cap for this picture? Cap. Yes.
I don't lie, kind of, to me, sounds a little bit like religious propaganda for Christian Europeans.
Okay.
Because the audience, I would say, it's obviously Christian Catholic, but it's showing the Pope as like having influence on politics.
Yes. Does he?
Yes.
Yes, he does. So the audience is definitely European, yes? European Christian. Euro Christ, how about that? Euro Christ. Euro Christians, yes.
Is this in that like under?
Does it say source or what does it say? Oh, it's down here?
Yeah.
No, it's just, they've got to give copyrights to whoever, who's ever got it. It's in some, library, municipal library in France. Yeah, no, I could even chop that out of there. Yeah, so it's obviously that. Yes,
I think the purpose was to show that like the king loves religion and the Pope, so you should too, and the Pope loves the king, so you should too.
okay. Well, I like that, but there's a little more, let's go a little more deeper on the purpose. I like that, you're in the right direction, yes.
So the purpose was that, he like saved the Pope type thing. Cause, like I get, the story behind it is, he's like thanking him for like protecting him, and then he's like giving him the throne as like a way of thanking him.
Yeah, now Charlemagne, does your book ever talk about Charlemagne?
This is a painting.
I don't think it does it? Okay, so, but we were kind of more familiar to some degree. Okay, so this is my map of Europe. In fact, I gotta do everything over here because it's being recorded. All right, this is my map of Europe. We kind of know our way around so far? Okay, so we happen to know, and this should be down closer to here. Something happened right here in 1492, yes? What was that? In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and why did he leave in 1492? What happened in 1492? Yes?
Pushed all the Islams out.
They pushed the Muslims out. They pushed them all the Muslims that were in here, basically they pushed them out back into North Africa. Yes? Guess who started the push? Charlemagne. He's the guy who's going to start the push. He's going to start it way up here. He's going to start the push, and then it's going to be continued by the King and Queen of Spain. We're going to continue it on through the Iberian Peninsula. Make sense? Okay, so he, to some degree, but you don't know that. And see, this is the cool part about starting in 1200, you know. Your book didn't talk about Charlemagne, and so you don't know that, but you do know. So I like that there's more context behind this. But what's the relationship here? What's the relationship?
I think it's gonna show like the Pope's role when like choosing the government or this case in royalty.
Yes, look at the painting. Look at the painting.
He's literally putting a crown on his head.
Yes. So who's higher in the painting?
The Pope.
Pope is. So who's higher in religion and politics? Pope. You guys see that? Yeah, okay. This position is higher than this position, and this person gets to put that on that person. Yes? There's a term for that, by the way. What's the term for that? Well, crowning, yeah. But what's it called when I say I'm the Pope and I go, oh, hereby I make you the Queen? What's that? Bestow, but there's a term for it because I'm religious. And here's what I'm saying. I'm saying you are anointed of God. Anybody mess with this person, you're going to HE double toothpicks. Hockey sticks. What's that called? There's a term for this. You should probably know this term. It's 2 words. What's that? 2 words. Okay, we're playing charades, yes?
God's favorite.
I'm not doing some dance up here, by the way.
Mandate of heaven.
No, that's Chinese. What's the European version of that? You guys ever heard of divine right? Oh, you never heard of divine right? Oh, that's why. Divine right. Divine right basically says the Pope has the ability to appoint divine right. God says you are to be the queen. Yes. Yes. What's that called when the Pope takes you away? Takes that away. He takes that away. He sends you. You go to HE double tooth hockey sticks. What's that called? It's 1 word. Divine right. No. What is it called? Excommunication. Excommunication. It's the ability of Pope to send you to hell. So you mess with divine right, you're going to hell. We're eventually going to start chopping the heads off of kings, and divine rights is going by the wayside. It's going to go by the wayside. We are going to overpower the church in history at some point in time. Matter of fact, anybody know what that time frame is called? We haven't got there yet, so no big deal. It's called the Reformation. We are going to take the power from the church, and we're going to actually give it to the government, which is kind of weird.
Wait, is that what happened?
What's that?
Is that what happened in France?
The Reformation is going to take place all through Europe, mostly in Germany, though. Mostly in Germany. All right. So, anyways, we just said a whole bunch of stuff. We didn't put any of it up there, did we? Now we got to figure out where do we want to put it. What's that?
For purpose, they chose the Pope's power.
Yeah. Power.
Power of Pope.
Yeah, power of the Pope, power hierarchy, power. I don't know. Some structure. How about structure? Does it give power, does it make sense, power structure? Once again, you don't have to write whatever, I'm writing up here, whatever makes more sense to you, go ahead and put that there. Context, what was that, do you remember what I called the two words?
Divine right.
Remember I was going, that was mine, right. Divine right. Point of view, we kind of already talked about that. Now, if we only had this document, and we had to answer the prompt using only this document, turn to your neighbor and tell them what the answer would be. And you're looking for the evaluating the extent to which religion and politics interacted in the era of 1200, 1450. This was the only document we had. What would your answer be? Tell your neighbor.
The extent to which religion and politics interacted in the era of 1250 is how
I would say, yeah, superior.
had the divine right to crown the king, he had the divine right to crown the king. So,
You have a neighbor? Let me introduce you guys.
oh, that's good, steal that. Power structure, right, you're, that's what it's showing.
Which did we put on which side?
Yeah, I'm stealing your answer, power structure, that's a good answer. Religions and politics interacted by having a power structure which the Pope had the divine right to crown the king.
We're still good. Okay, gotcha. All right, so what have we got for our answer? Who we going to? Big cow. What do you got? Nothing? You have a phone a friend? Who's your phone a friend? You guys know what a phone a friend is?
I'm not gonna do that to someone.
So well, here's what, anybody who wants to pick up the phone on the other end, they raise their hand. Anybody want to be your phone a friend? Oh, come on, okay, we got some phone a friends. Who do you want to be your phone a friend? Who? You gotta pick somebody. Who you gonna? No, this is yours. You gotta come up with the answer. You can phone a friend.
Okay, so, cause it has to be short, we put, superior religion,
Superior religion, is that what you said?
yeah, superior
This-
religion, this religion, superior religion.
Oh, I see what you're saying, so the relationship, but does that give us an evaluative word that tells us what the relationship is? You with me? Yes,
Or you could say religion defines politics.
religion defined politics. Okay, I'm still looking for an evaluative word. You guys understand evaluative? Yeah, but we gotta come up with a word that talks about the relationship of R versus P. We're looking for this word here. For that. We're all thinking on a word right now? Or are we just waiting for somebody to come up with a word that we're gonna go, I like that, I'm gonna write it down? That's what we're doing? You guys know I'm the king of awkward silence, you know that, right? Yes,
Okay, I found something almost, it's like, I'm not saying it's but it's like when one religion ties into another, I found something.
superior religion.
Yeah, but that one means like definition wise is like superior to other religions.
Okay, Something where religion trumps. Let's tell you what, let's just put that in there. Religion, and somehow religion has a priority, yes? Religion trumps. And no, we're not speaking political, we're just talking about. So what's that, what's that, is that, I'm trying to remember, what game is it where you have certain cards trump other cards? Is it a name called Trump? I think it is. Is it hearts or spades, what is it? Spades. Yeah, so nobody, the people who have played spades have no idea what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, basically the spades are kind of the one cards that are higher than all the other cards, especially the ace of spades.
One card rules them all, yes? Yeah, and so somehow we gotta come up with, well, we'll come back to this, we may not have a good word right now, but as long as we got the gist of it, there is a relationship, it's pretty deep, and oh, by the way, that's gonna be on top. Make sense? And this is Europe, in Europe. All right, so we need to put our caps for this one over here and put religion trumps right here. And I think that means it's gonna be here, yes? Is this the extensive one?
That's like.
Yeah, so that's the one we want. It's infused, right? So here's what I would write here. Hope and divine right. Make sense? And then whatever you have for cap, put it over here. Whatever you pulled out of that for cap, and you may have divine right in your cap as well. I didn't put that in there. Put your whatever you can do, your strongest caps, put those over here. This is gonna be kind of a summary of what's going on. How this is gonna help you prove that. All right, we got that? Ready for the document, how are we doing on time? 8 minutes? Well, I'll stop here, then I'm not gonna go to document 3. Yes?
I looked up a word and I think I found one that might fit. It says theocracy. It says it could be basically saying about the rule of God.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Theocracy.
Yeah, but I don't know if we wanna write that.
I'm not sure they will let me, it's like 10 minutes.
What is the word that represents like religion overall?
See, but this isn't quite it. It's close, but it's not there. You guys ever heard of this?
Theocracy?
Theocracy?
That's a word that I've heard before.
Yeah, it's where religion runs the government. It's a government based on religion. Is Europe a government based on religion? No. I'll give you a good example. There's a theocracy today in the world. There's 2 theocracies that I can think of in the world. Actually, maybe 3. I'm start slowly adding to the list. The first one that comes to mind is Iran. Iran has an Ayatollah. He's like the Pope. Okay, he rules over Iran. He has a president. But the president at any point in time knows that Ayatollah can say, go look for another job. He's an Islamic, I hate to use the word Pope, that's not equal, but it helps you get a picture of where he is. That's a theocracy. Saudi Arabia is kind of another kind of a weird, but it's kind of, because they have a king, yet he rules under Sharia. Sharia rules, and so it's kind of like it's a weird theocracy. The other one I was thinking of is Afghanistan or Pakistan. They have Islam kind of runs the country. So theocracy, it's close to theocracy in Europe, but it's not. The Pope has the ultimate trump card, but the king is doing the everything, every day-to-day ruling. Make sense? All right, so it's not quite there, but yes?
So it's like that's how they're, like steroids, whatever, what type of government would be possible?
With what, Europe? It's a monarchy. It's definitely a monarchy, but we're looking for the relationship between religion and politics. And so it's definitely ingrained, might be a word we could use. It's interwoven. I'm trying to think of different words where the two are one. You know what I mean? They function. Oh, what's the word where symbiotic?
We're like, they help each other out.
They help each other out?
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that one. What do you think about that one? That would be like a one-word answer for that? Okay. So tonight, if you would, go look through some of the other documents. We're gonna continue through them tomorrow. We only got through 2 documents. We gotta get through more tomorrow, because I would like to have a little bit of spare time on Thursday where we could play, all right? Not play, but have some room to like get ready for Friday. Does that make sense? So tonight, if you would, go through the other documents, look at them, kind of do what we did so it'll speed the process along tomorrow. All right? All right, rest of the period is yours.
Did you stop recording this one?
What's that?
Did you stop recording this one?
I'm trying to figure out how to stop recording over here.
Is it your button that says like stop recording?
Well, there's got to be a way. I think I figured it out. No. Yep. Stop recording. There it is. All right. Is it recording? Yes, it is. All right. So, did we talk about? And once again, this is what we by 3 periods. By the third period of AP, I eventually just sat down and wrote them in. What was kind of like the best of it for the Mongols. Well, first off, we came up with this color scheme. I don't know if it was 2nd period or 3rd period. We came up with a color scheme where we're going to make anything that's over here blue and everything that's over here yellow. And so we filled it in that way. And then these are the yes people. There is a interaction between politics and religion, and this is the no people. Make sense? And we called the Mongols as users of religion. Was it this class came up with symbiotic?
I think so.
Yeah, you guys came up with that. That was a good one. I like that one. And so once again, we're always looking for, like, this is perfect, because this is politics and religion kind of married. And we talked about divine right, and we talked about the Golden Horde going into, did we talk in this class the Golden Horde going into Europe or no? No, okay, look, open your books. There's a map. Find the map of all the cons. Where, somebody shout out when you got that page number. Map with all the cons. Or wherever it is, holler it out. $157. So I'm here and I'm here. $157. Okay, see where the Golden Horde is, yes? Okay, see the little, is it like red arrows or something? What are they, the red arrows? On the Golden Horde. Where are they going? Into Europe, yes? All right, so we're looking for a connection. Okay, because if I remember, document 1 was, wasn't some monk talking to the Khan? So Europe versus the Mongols. And so the connection we could make with them, the context is that there was some interface between Europe and the Mongols. And we should, and I'm pretty sure we talked about divine right, yes? So we're all caught up. Any questions on what we did so far? We're good? Yes.
What's the Mongol shamanism?
Shamanism. We didn't talk about shamanism in here?
What is
Okay, did
it?
they talk about the Mongols being spiritual?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, with the bones.
Yeah, they throw the bones down and go like, there's an attack coming in the future, and it's going to be, it kind of reminds me too, the Greeks. The Greeks are funny. Now, I digress for just a moment, I'll come back. The Greeks, they used to employ these priestesses to tell the future. Like if you've, and you see it a lot in Greek history. And so these priestesses would go into there was this one place, gosh, what is the name of this? I'm scratching my brain here for the name of that city, because we actually went and saw it. But the temple of whatever Greek god they were worshiping,
Athens.
it's not Athens. It's not in Athens. It's out on the western side of Greece. But anyways, we went to this temple, and what it turns out to be is there's a volcanic vent right there. And so these priestesses would go in there and they would sniff the fumes and they get all kind of weirded. And then they would be prophesying about the future. And they would say stuff like, there will be a battle in the future and there will be a great disappointment. Okay. Because, people would go out, the Greeks would go ask them, hey, should I go fight these people? Yeah, there's going to be a great battle, and there's going to be great disappointment. Yeah, it's kind of funny because they have these written down, some of the prophecies that they made, and I'm like, that's not prophecy, that's just weird. Anyway, shamanism, I would put not far from that. But that's what the Mongols believed as far as their connection between religion and politics. It's very thin. Make sense? All right, so we're ready to proceed. I have to divide you guys up. We got 7 things we need to do. We're going to divide and conquer. Here's the 7 things we're going to do. This is probably going to be my biggest group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sense? So let's do it this way. You guys are going to do 1, 2, 3. Yeah, maybe I'll include you guys too. How about you guys? You guys got 3? Okay. Oh, no, I can't. I need you. You guys got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sense? Okay, so here's what you're going to do. Whichever one you got, my contextualization, you guys got the hardest one. I'll come talk to you guys soon as I get everybody else rolling. Make sense? So you're going to go do what we did yesterday. Figure out, is it here? Is it here? Is there something in cap? Remember, cap always has to be tied to history. Always has to be tied to history. You can't just say, hey, the person is really joyous. Okay, who cares? What are they joyous about? You with me? So tie it to history. So how long you want? 10 minutes? We do it in 10? Okay, so you got it in 10. I'm going to go talk to my context people, contextualization people. Document 3. Everybody, if you do it, whatever you're doing right now, pause. We'll open up your book or whatever. Go to document 3. Let's look at document 3 together so we can glean as much as we can out of document 3. Document 3, I think, is probably the richest document of all the documents here. It's where we can make a lot of connections. Cap should be the easiest on document 3, I think. A whole bunch of stuff going on there. So let's back up. What do we know about Russia? When the Mongols come to Russia, what do we know? Do we know anything? Go to page, there's a whole section dedicated to that. Go to page. Where is it? Okay, page 167. Go to 167. There's a whole section on it. What do you know?
The Russian princess taxed everyone really hard for their gold, so they became really wealthy.
The princess. Okay, so here's a question. Why weren't the Mongols, well, first off, I just kind of let the cat out of the bag. The Mongols aren't in Russia. You guys realize that? They're not there. So the question is, why aren't they there? Why aren't they there? Anybody know why they're not there? There's a big reason why they're not there. 2 big reasons, yes.
Oh, well, I don't think this goes with this, never mind.
Never mind, everybody.
I don't think he ever,
Okay, I'll come back to you though, because you got something else though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Remind me to come back to you. Yes?
Old?
Pardon?
Old?
I like that, but no.
Didn't the Russians like pay off the Mongols or something?
Well, we're going that way. We'll talk about it. It's close. Yes,
There wasn't like a major trade routes.
pretty much there's nothing there. Why go there? Okay, I'm gonna insult somebody in here, I know it right now. It's like, why live in Coopville? What's there? Can we get what we need from Coopville by living in Oak Harbor? Yeah. So why live in Coopville? Okay, who did I insult? Who lives in Coopville? Yeah, they didn't insult anybody. Inevitably, somebody was watching the video that was like, I live in Coopville. I can't believe you said that. Yeah. So the Mongols, where are they happiest at?
Right next to Russia.
Well, what's right next to Russia?
They're happiest at Persia.
Yeah, but there's something, okay, we gotta talk about land here. We're gonna talk about interaction with the environment. Okay, what is right here? Well, that's down here. What's right here that the Mongols love? People, no. You're a Mongol. Sakai, you're a Mongol. What do you love to do in your spare time? No, before you started the whole pillaging thing, what do you like to do?
Hair,
Got a minute left? Oh, it's a short period.
thought it was at 49.
It's a shortened period.
They say we gotta go till 44. Okay, so yeah, let me finish the thought. Okay, right here, guys, are the steps. The steps, horses. Okay, so why go to Russia when I can live on the steps? Make sense? We, yesterday, I think we were here. So I took, all the different classes as we progressed along, and I incorporated them in. If you guys peeked into it last night, you would have noticed that, that it's been updated. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? You guys look ahead at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, look down, look down, there. It's all done. We finished it. So now today with you guys, I just need to review it because you guys were first period and we got the third document, and then the next period we got like the fourth, fifth document, and then the last period we got the sixth and seventh document, and we're working on contextualization and what have you. So I'm just gonna review those with you. First off, I want to point this out too. If you go look at the finished product, are all of these filled in on all of them? Have we capped, like, do we see APP on all of them? Do you see they're kind of like maybe onesies and twosies? That's the way it's gonna end up too. So when you cap it, when you look at it, you're like, hey, I can cap this one, I can put all of them in there, but what's the thing I always say about capping? What do you gotta do when you're capping? You do that, the CAPP, but what do you specifically have to do? What's gotta be, there's gotta be a handshake there. What's the handshake? Well, context is part of it, but it has to be tied into history. Does that make sense? You can't just say, okay, like this guy here, let's see, what is he? He's a Russian, some Russian, that's all we know about him, right? Some Russian from the 13th century Mongol invasion. Okay, so we can't just say his audience is Russia, right? Okay, that's true, probably. But what's the significance of that? How is that tied to history? Does that make sense? All right, and so keep that in mind too. When you're looking at these, now if you like point of view, the author of this is angry. Okay, I agree with you, he's angry. And I'm not saying in this case, but in a particular case, if you can see where the guy is just steaming mad with his stuff, and you said, the point of view is angry, and you go, boom, capped it. You gotta take history and take, he's mad because this happened to his people when the Mongols did this. You know, but you can't just regurgitate this too. Does that make sense? I'm kind of speaking in vague things here. Let's look at the cap. Did you guys do this one or not? I can't remember. Did we just touch on this one? Was this done by this class or a different class? All right, let's see what we got here. Let me say go over here. All right, so this got, let's see. Yeah. Well, I think we talked a little bit about this, didn't we? We talked about the Mongols? The Mongols, were they in Russia? Or is that where, like when we were leaving class? Was that the time we were leaving class? Okay, so what was the highway? What's the highway across across Asia there that they like, the Mongols like. Did we say that or not yesterday? Did I pull this over here? I can't remember what class I was doing, I went like this. I said there's a highway right here. Did I talk about it or no?
Yeah.
I think you.
What's it called?
Last thing you said.
The steppes. Yeah, and so what could the Mongols do? Did they go into Russia? Did I insult Coupeville?
Yeah,
You did.
I did insult Coupeville. What did I say about Coupeville?
Why would you need to?
I don't think I said Coupeville sucks. I don't think I said it, did I?
And we did start Coupeville while living in.
All right, so why live in Coupeville when you can live in Oak Harbor and get what you need from Coupeville from Oak Harbor? Make sense? That's the steps. All right, so that would be probably something we could bring about, we could introduce into this one here. And once again, we have to always kind of be thinking about the extent to which religion and politics interacted in the era, okay? And the extent that religion and politics, what was flourishing? What was flourishing? Yes?
The Russian princes.
Yeah, but, well, that's true. So that was flourishing. What else was flourishing? Because didn't we get it out of the textbook? Didn't we get that statement out of the textbook? You don't remember? Is it first period and it's too early to talk? Too early to think? Okay, turn to your textbooks then. Who's got a textbook? Go find the Russians. Because we actually, I thought it was this class. Maybe it was a different class. I apologize if it was a different class. There was a statement that somebody read. Was it this class? Let me see here. Where's the Russians? What page? Somebody tell me the page. 167. All right, yeah, okay, go over to page 168. All right, so we're gonna go to the second paragraph, right? You with me in the second paragraph on 168? I'm gonna read aloud. Everybody there? All right, it says, an exploit they certainly did. Russian princes received appointment from the Khan. Okay, so who's prospering? The princes, right? All right, now we continue on. And were required to send substantial tribute to the Mongols' capital at Sarai, located in the lower Volga River. A variety of additional taxes created a heavy burden, especially on the peasantry, while continuing border raids sent tens of thousands of Russians into slavery. The Mongol impact was highly uneven. However, the Russian Orthodox Church flourished. So the princes are doing fine, and so is the church. And that's what we're trying to focus on, right? The connection between the two. In this case, with the Mongols, both are doing fine. They're both flourishing. Make sense? All right, so Mongols strengthened church and Mongols strengthened, it should say the church and princes, but anyways. So do we understand that one? We're good on 3? All right. Let's go to this one. I say China, you say. Come on, it should be automatic. I say China, you say. Confucius, if I see some phones, I'm gonna take some phones, put them away. So does Taoism ever stand a chance? It's always second fiddle, second chair. Where's my musicians? First chair, second chair, third chair, where you at? Cool. So you understand first chair. You understand first chair? Taoism never plays first chair. Right? Never plays first chair. So evaluate the extent to which regional and politics in the year 1200, 1450. What do you think it's going to say? Oh, you probably can look ahead and see what it says, right? What does it say? Foreign. Religion and politics are foreign, right? That's this whole thing. Remember this? Keep them at arm's bay. Who's the favorite? What's the favorite occupation in China? Peasant, because they're living in harmony. What's the least favorite occupation? Merchants. Why?
Is religion Anything that's upside down, you know.
Yep. So we put them over there, yes? Kept at arm's length? That was your minor player, does that make sense? All right, so far so good. This one here. People had a tough time with this one here. So I'll give you a little bit of history. This is back in, where's Islam? Is that chapter 1? Okay, chapter 1. So I'm taking your brains back to chapter 1. Okay, so this is the Saudi Arabian Peninsula. Where's the Saudi Arabian Peninsula? It's right next to, this is Africa. Egypt is right here. Saudi Arabian Peninsula. So far so good? We got Mecca. Okay, so I'm famous for my drawings, right? Here's one of my famous drawings. That's supposed to be a wheel with spokes. Look like a wheel with spokes? Okay, so the hub is Mecca. Mecca was the trading hub for the Saudi Arabian Peninsula. And in Mecca was a house. We've talked about this house before, if you remember back in chapter 1. Chapter 1, I told you the story. Let's see, who was it? Abraham and Hagar. He took her to Mecca, built a house, according to the Quran, for her and Ishmael, and he left them there, and off he went back to the Jews. And so this whole thing, there's this whole competing bloodline between the Jews and the Muslims. And it's all over, it kind of hinges on this. Anybody remember the name of that building? Yes? The Kaaba, yeah.
Like the black thing
Yeah, that black thing, that's it right there.
and the gold.
That's, with the gold around it, that's it. You remember it now? Okay, so that's the deal. Now, Muhammad, okay, so what happened is all these traders, this was the hub, all these traders, like these guys served a god over here, and these guys served a god over here, and a god, and a god, and a god, all these gods, well, they put all their little idols inside the Kaaba. And that's when they came to Mecca, they could worship their God. Makes sense, it's like, one-stop shopping for your God. And so Muhammad comes in and cleanses the Kaaba. And he says there's only one God, Allah. Make sense? That's what that is. Now, people had a problem with this whole thing about, hey, but he's on fire. What's going on here? What's he on fire for? Now, you have to understand, pictures where fire is on the heads refers to religious zeal. Religious zeal. Z-E-A-L. Make sense? So that's what they're saying. There's a religious zeal, they cleanse it. So, once again, we got to keep our focus on politics and religion and the relationship that they have together. What's the relationship in Islam between religion and politics? It's too early. It's not even Monday though. Feels like a Monday, doesn't it? What's this? What am I doing this for? Who's my spin it out? You're my spin it out guy, right? Can you pull that up for me? Does it save it, or do you have to like make it
It's
cool? Because everybody's like, nobody wants to be called on today. I want to know what this is. Because I'm coming to you. Turn to your neighbor and tell them what I'm doing with this when I'm talking about that. What's this? Where is that? Hopefully you remember that. Tell your neighbor, tell your neighbor. Okay, so plug. All right, who we going to? Haley? It's what? I am not hearing any of this. Oh, yeah. Finn. What's this? You tired? I know, so is everybody else. You got a phone a friend in here? You want a phone a friend? Destiny.
Good together.
Who? What?
The religion and the politics.
Yeah. Remember the caliph? Remember what a caliph is? Caliph is what? Both what and what? I said he was like what and what combined together. was religion and politics, but I said Pope and President, kind of the same thing. Something we can relate to. We can relate to a religious leader and a political leader, but the caliph puts them both. Puts them both together. The caliph, the person who oversees a caliphate, is both political and religious leaders. There is no separation between the two. All right, and so unified, the relationship between religion and politics is unified. There's your example. And for the purpose that they had was that the Ummah, we now take, I've erased it, but you have to understand tribe, yes? Now they're what? One, they're Ummah. And we can take this and not limit it to Saudi Arabia. We can go to North Africa. We can go through all the Middle East. We can go down into India. We can go down into Indonesia. We can go all over the planet. And are they now Pakistanis or Saudis or Iranians or Algerians? Are they that? No, what are they? They're Ummah. It is a unifying force. Islam brings a unifying force in which to bring these two things together. Make sense? All right. So now we're on to the sacking of Constantinople. Now you have to understand, let's see, where's that picture? We talked about this in whatever class we did this in. I'm looking for the picture. Remember the Venetian guy, the Venetian artist painted Mahmed the Conqueror? Remember that? It was an exercise we did. I'm looking for the painting. It's at the end of one of the chapters. Oh, it's at the end of chapter 2. Go look at page, where's that? Page 97. Go look at page 97. Let me refresh your memory. Page 97. 97, 97, 97. Go to 97. Okay, so who painted this painting on page 97? 97. What's that? A Christian from where? Venice. What's Venice? The trade city. Okay, so trade city, Venice, yes? So we know where that's at, yes? We know where this is at, yes? Then we know where this is at, yes? So far, so good. Right? And then we got over here, we got these guys advancing. Who are these guys, by the way? I know you guys like my pictures, right? Who are these guys?
Ottomans.
The Ottomans. The guys advancing, yes? Okay, what is this a symbol for? Eastern Orthodox. So, these guys, Mahmed the Conqueror is going to come in here, wipe them out. Right? And that sounds really bad, doesn't it? It is bad. Okay, we agree. People got killed, they died. When the Byzantine Empire is, bye. And that's what that article is about, yes? Now, with that in context, Venice, which is right here, which is a trade city, sends an artist, okay, to paint this guy, Mahmed the Conqueror, the leader of the Ottomans who took over and got rid of the Byzantine Empire, and he paints him like that. Is he dissing him on this painting? Is he angry at him in this painting? Is he disappointed because Mahmed the Conqueror wiped out fellow Christians?
Orthodox, so they're not really.
He's an Orthodox. Well, still, you would think, okay, I would think, I'm going to make an assumption here. If I'm a Catholic and I have friends that are Eastern Orthodox and we're of this same religion and some Muslims come in and kill my friend and their family, you'd think they'd be like, maybe? I know. So why did he do that? Why did the Venetians do that? There's not a tear shed. Does that look like a tear shed on that painting? Why? What's the motivation behind that painting?
Because they profit from it. So then I maybe
Well, the thing is, the Venetians, what are they interested in? Trade, access to sugar and spice and everything nice. Who controls access to sugar and spice and everything nice? These guys do. So, I mean, as far as, because it's coming off the Silk Road right here, right? And who's the UPS drivers? Italians. So the Venetians want to get in good. So it's kind of an interesting thing. You look at this and you think it would be sad, very sad to read this, okay? But it's not sad for the Venetians. The Venetians are like, hey, cool. We didn't like the Byzantines anyways. They didn't get along with each other. Now, question. Does Eastern Orthodox stay here? Where does it go? Russia. So who might actually shed a tear when they read this? The Russians. Make sense? So we got the Russians. So with regards to the Byzantines, they were the foundation, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. They're the foundation for getting religion and politics in bed with each other. I don't know if you guys know that. Have you ever heard the story of Constantine? Constantine, he's the head of the Byzantine Empire. He's off fighting a battle. See, where's my sword? Here's my sword. He's off fighting a battle. And somewhere through the battle, a cross appears in the sky. And he wins the battle. And he says, what is this cross? What is this cross? Oh, that's the cross of Jesus, yada, yada, yada. And she says, we shall be Christians. And he makes the Byzantine. He's the guy who pulls religion into politics, Constantine. Make sense? I'll get back to him in a second. So they're foundational. They're one of the foundations. As a matter of fact, there's two people who, let's play a little game here. Who do you think the other guy is who pulls politics and religion together? Who's the other guy? Turn to your neighbor and tell him while I'm getting rid of the dwindle.
there was like another person who religion.
Are you ready? Who are we going to? Spin it, spin it, spin it, spin it. Let's see how this thing works. Did it just like separate those by themselves
I did it.
in the different colors? Who is it? Just say it, do your best.
Shallow.
What we got?
Is it,
The M&M dude? No, not the M&M dude. Want me to help you? Who's this dude? Who's this dude?
Caleb.
Or who's the first one who does it though? Who's the first caliph? Yes, you know who the first caliph is? There you go. Yeah, Muhammad. So there's two dudes that we could actually point to and say, these are the dudes that directly married this with this. In Islam, it's Muhammad. Okay, I can't do that. My fingers just don't do that. I have to force them. Muhammad. And in Christianity, it's Constantine. Constantine. All right? A little bit of history there. All right, so we go to the next one. This is Africa. Yes? And we got two instances. We got a kingdom and we got a city. All right? And why was Islam comfortable in Africa, in West Africa? Turn to your neighbor and tell them why. And I don't know if I told you this in class, but I think it fit like a glove. Islam fit like a glove, which is kind of a great word picture, by the way, and I'll explain that in a second. Tell your neighbor why Islam fits so well in Africa. Give me your best guess. Yes.
miss your eyes. Is that big enough? Is it gonna work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, spin the dial. You get that microphone, I miss the sounds.
Allie?
Maybe like
Trade is definitely one of the keys. It fits trade very well. Why does it fit trade very well? It fits trade very well. It fits trade very well. Why? How? How would Islam? Oh, by the way, here's one clue. That's one clue. It's like charades where you got like, when you stumble upon something, you go, hey, that's pretty good. Okay, so it fits trade very well in Africa. Islam does. How would it fit trade very well? Yes.
Well, Africa really big religious standpoint, so whenever Islam came through, they were like, hey, have this religion where you can agree with trade.
That's right, there was no religions, there had been no unifying empire, so there were no religions, so there's the first one, but still, trade fits very well. How does it fit?
I was gonna say that. It fits well because, in Africa, there was a section like access resources, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know, West Africa's got lots and lots of trade possibilities because of the resources. But why does Islam fit so well? Is Ummah a good thing for trade? Are you gonna cheat your fellow Muslim? So there's one benefit for fitting so well. There's one. What's another one? How many wives can you have in Islam? 5. Guess what Africa had? They had a regular polygamy already happening. So here's this religion comes in and says, hey, you can do that. So it fits very well. Now, let's go back to the whole thing. I didn't even realize I was saying it until I said it. It fits like a glove. Glove goes over your hand. Does it become one with your hand? How did religion sit in West Africa? What's that? It coexisted, but was it deep into the roots? Yeah, but it was mostly on the surface. Yeah, mostly on the surface. So it fit like a glove, but it never became one. Well, it's kind of hard to tell. But it's obvious on the surface, but it's not like down into the roots. Does that make sense? I don't know if you followed me through that or not. So let's see what we got here. Thin depth. It complemented the trade cities. We wrote a whole essay on that, yes. Trade carried Islam and developed trade cities. And so that was that for that. Any questions on the document so far? We good? Yes. I think that was, I'm trying to remember, I should have put POV, but I think it's purpose. Makes more sense with purpose. Yep. And notice, of all of them, we only have one with 2 cap things on it. So don't be afraid, or don't be scratching your head if you're like, I really can't do all 4 caps. And what's the most popular cap that was used? Context, yeah. Yeah, kind of describe a little further in detail what's going on. So context is probably the easiest one to do. Now, we had to come up with outside evidence, and one of the classes came up with two sets of outside evidence. What did we were talking about one. What was one that was kind of fit here nicely? The Aztecs. Now, there's another one here that fits pretty well, too. Japan. Because is there a whole lot of religion and politics going on in Japan? The whole military thing, yes? Yeah, so it kind of fits. Whereas these guys here, religion required sacrifice because the military and political expansion. The religion said we have to sacrifice hearts. Well, where are we going to get them? Well, let's go kill some people. Expand over here. Okay, we got our hearts. We need more hearts. Let's expand over here. We got some more hearts. We need more hearts. And so they're doing this thing. And that's what's gonna happen to the Spaniards. When the Spaniards are gonna show up, they're gonna visit all the neighbors of the Aztecs and say, hey, we gotta take those guys down. You anybody wanna help? Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like me.
Yeah, pick me, yeah. So these guys here, it's almost like a vicious circle. And then Japan's got this whole, what's that warrior code called? Bushido. They're like a war fighting, and it makes total sense too, when you start thinking about, we're eventually, if you think about Bushido, and you think about the shoguns, with Japan, it's gonna make total sense when we get into imperialism and the Japanese industrialize and nobody in the neighborhood does, and they've got this long history of, hey, we're strong and we can fight our way through whatever we need to fight our way through. World War II is gonna make a whole bunch more sense when you think about Japan's history. Because we are a function of our history. I don't know if you guys know that or not. We're a function of our history. So any questions on this so far? And then one of the classes did contextualization, and I think all you guys did, and I think what it was over here on the board, and I think you guys did some contextualization, and second period did some contextualization, and we refined it by third period. And so all we were looking for where religions was tied to politics. Anywhere in here where religion was tied to politics. So what's the star for?
People.
I know the people. What's the star for?
The people who
That did that. Yeah, the people who brought it in, who married the two. Yes? There's a reason those are stars, and I'll explain that in a second. So, all this was, and we've got to figure out, and you're like, Mr. Krause, where's the spiced tea over there? Well, sometimes you have to abandon spiced tea. Spiced tea is an organizing tool. But in this case, we have to somehow explain the history of how these two got married, or how these two did not get married. That's what we got to do. We got to go with the history of them. Does that make sense? And this is all shared with you, so you don't have to worry about too much. You can copy that into yours, I don't care. But what we are left with now, and then you're gonna go like, Mr. Krause, you're kidding me. No, I'm not. College board expects you to do all that we just did here in 15 minutes. Well, we did it much more in depth. This is gonna give you, if you understand everything on this page and you can write it, you're gonna get like an A paper. Because we basically covered every base. Are you gonna cover every base on your 15 minutes? Probably not, but this is what they expect you to do. They give you 15 minutes to do this. But here's the deal. Like, you only have to come up with one of these. We came up with two. You know what I mean? We only have to hit 3 of these. We came up with one, we'll just call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We came up with 7 of them. We only need 3 of them. You with me? So in 15 minutes, you need to come up with at least 3. Over here, you need to come up with at least 1 here. But this is the part, you're gonna do all this in 15 minutes for the thing that we have not done in any of the classes yet, which we need to do. We need to come up, did I talk about umbrella answers? Okay, so we have to come up with an umbrella answer for here that we can hide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This answer has to support those answers. You guys came up with conjoined, right? Was that you guys? Yeah. So let's start there. Now, we always have to use the language of the prompt. The language of the prompt, which I just hid. The extent to which religion and politics interacted. Okay, so in the era, I think I actually did it. Yeah, so in the era, $1,200 to $1,450. And we're gonna come up with 2 statements. This is gonna be the first one. Was it politics? Oops, sorry. Religion and politics. Sorry about that. Religion and politics. What's I'm trying to get the exact verbiage. Interactive? Yeah. Interaction was conjoined. We want to use that word. You don't have to use this, by the way. Yeah, whatever you want. Conjoined. Now, we gotta finish this. Now, we gotta figure out what do these all have in common that we could hide all of these, that all these things support. What's that? Need a what?
I thought you only needed 3.
No, you only need 3 caps. You only need 3 caps. Yeah, no, we have to hide all of these yellow ones underneath that answer. And then we started out in the year 1242, religious politics interaction was conjoined. Now think of it this way, is there something they have in common? Or is there some place that they have in common? Where? Where were they conjoined? Well, there's a couple things here. Okay, we've got, are these conjoined?
Yes.
Are these conjoined?
Yeah.
Are these conjoined?
No.
And we're starting to see something. What do these two have in common? Well, okay. Well, what about, what if we go with Buddhism? What if we go with Hinduism? What's that?
Monotheistic.
Monotheistic would work. Are all of those monotheistic?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna come up with several options here. You're gonna seek several options. In option A, option B, we may even come up with an option C.
The Ottomans are Martin.
They are. What are they? Ottomans are what? What religion are the Ottomans? Islamic. Yeah, they're Islamic. So we could say amongst the monos, is there something, what about geographically? Are these guys geographically different from these guys? Where are the, so these guys, okay, so let's say we're obviously Europe, yes? This is Russia. Middle East. Yeah, well, there we go. These guys are we East?
Yeah, that's right.
With the exception of Africa. Yeah, with the exception of Africa. But yeah, this is definitely East. This is definitely East. This is definitely East. Byzantine is, we're gonna call that kind of Europe, because it's like East Europe. I'm still gonna call it Europe. Because Turkey sometimes says, yeah, we're in Europe. They're kind of weird. Anyways, in the Americas. Well, see, that's the problem though, does the Monos, does that fit with the Aztecs? Well, I guess you could say they're one god, the sun god. Yeah, we could maybe make that one fit. But here's the other thing too, you can always do, you can do that. You can come up with this, or we can do the East versus everyone else, yes? Yeah, I know. But we're gonna have to play with it. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do.
The sun god was the biggest god.
Yep. Yep.
What if they let you down for not being able to see?
Well, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna flex your historical muscle. So here's two possible ways to go with your thesis. The monotheisms versus the non-monos. The monos versus the non-monos. You with me? Because we gotta somehow separate these guys. And the other way is you could do it geographically. Europe versus the East. Because they tend to, you're looking for major blocks. And it tends to be Europe and it tends to be the East. And so with East being kind of standing out. Now here's what I would do for these guys who are like singletons, who are all by themselves, who are just kind of like, you can play, like this guy here, we talked about, this guy here is not a monotheistic, right? But the main God is the one who's driving the equation between politics and religion, right? So I would do, when you introduce this particular document, your outside evidence, you would somehow preface it with that disclaimer up front. Some outside information that backs up the monotheistic approach to a conjoined relationship between politics and religion would be the Aztecs. However, you with me? Because it backs up your statement, but you've gone ahead and you said, hey, this does, because this is the main God. This is their main God, and that main God is the one who's driving that conjoined relationship. You with me? And the same thing with this here. This one here, when you introduce that one, you've got to say, if you're going with like this one here, although not in the East, Africa did not have a conjoined relationship. West Africa. It was there, and it was in the cities, but it was a very thin layer, and the people had not accepted. So it was. You guys know what facade is? You guys ever seen Westerns? They have like a big storefront, but actually there's only like a little store behind there. This is called a facade. It looks really big, but in reality, there's not much behind it. Pardon? Yep, like an illusion. All right, so here's what this is crazy looking, isn't it? Too many words. I hate slides with a lot of words. So contextualization. From this guy, we've got to pick two contextualizations. I would probably pick monotheism and philosophies. Make sense? Monotheism, and then introduce them with some whatever you're going to introduce here, make sure you're not using it somewhere in there. And like for these two guys, leave these two guys out. I'll explain why in a second. Leave them out. The people. Yeah. Just kind of introduce the basic monotheistic religions and how they started. But don't concentrate on these two guys, and I'll explain why in a second. And then anything else that we think we need to introduce, with at least, same thing with the contextualization, we have to have two spiced teas. You need to, in your contextualization, introduce two things. All right? So there's your contextualization. Our thesis, we were just working on the first statement, the conjoined statement. You're going to have to come up with the second part of that, which speaks to the other folks. Where, like we said, it was conjoined. The other one would say they operated independently, something like that. Make sense? Because you get your two answers. One's conjoined, one there is no connection between the two. So you got your two answers. Now here, this is it's the same thing as LEQs. You have 3 paragraphs. You have your contextualization thesis paragraph. Then you have you take that topic sentence 1, you bring it down and you back it up. And then the bottom paragraph is going to be you take your topic sentence, you bring it down, and then you back it up. Well, how do I back it up? With each document, you have to introduce it. And you get used to some way of introducing it. I'm going to give you the easiest way that you can force yourself into saying what you need to say. Real simple. Just start each one off like this. Document supports my thesis of conjoined, if this is in that paragraph, by, get used to using this word right here. And then make sure you kind of let the reader know that, hey, I'm about to talk about document 2, I'm not about to talk about 3, I'm about to talk about document 4. But get used to this because guess what you have to do in that first sentence? You have to show how it supports. Easiest way to do it is go back to these words. Make sense? And then hopefully that should be supporting it. So once you're done with this statement, then I think most of them, we did the little C, right? So period, do your little C, explain your little C, and then go to the next document. And then the next document, and then the next document, and then you're gonna say some additional information not found. You don't have to say this, by the way. As soon as you say this, the reader knows it's not in the documents. And that's when you introduce, where's that, where'd it go? That's when you introduce this. Makes sense? So all you're doing is your essay literally, this is gonna be your topic sentence, and this is a document you're gonna introduce, document, you know, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing. Make sense? And the very last thing you've got to do is, if you can, explain it. Why do monotheisms tend to be conjoined? Now, do you see how you hold those guys back?
Yeah.
Why do they tend to be conjoined? Because these guys did it. Does that make sense? So that's the analysis. So you can even do analysis on this. Holy macaroni. You can get that, all those points. All right, so. And that's it. You do that for each chapter. And then the very last thing is your analysis. All right, I ran out of room here. But guess what? I did on this page. So that's what your outline should look like. And I threw all the ones that we had that supported conjoined 2, 3, 5, 6, support conjoined. Then there was the Aztecs. Then the analysis, we could tie in Mohammed and Constantine, the founding fathers, we'll call them. And then down here, now I didn't, off the top of my head, I couldn't come up with an analysis for